The other one that's even more difficult for organizations, and it's one of those ones that if you don't get it right, it really messes everything else up, is CM controls. CM controls are configuration management controls. Configuration management deals with baseline configuration. One of the first things. Baseline means, like, let's say you have 100 Unix systems and you got 100 Windows systems. A baseline means all of those systems look the same. The baseline configuration is something you establish before you're even installing the system, before you create the image on those workstations for Windows and for Linux or whatever, Mac, whatever you have to have a baseline configuration. Basically, if you don't have a baseline configuration, you don't have security. It's going to be very hard to manage. Okay, so another thing is configuration change control, like being able to change when you need to. The system's always changing. Like, you have to have something to where it's constantly tracking that change process. Impact analysis. What happens when we put this new system in place? We have this new Windows 11. What's going to be the impact to our organization? Can we maintain the same level of security posture that we had before with Windows 11? There might be some things on Windows 11 that weren't on Windows 10 that we got to figure out what those things are. Is there anything we're missing? You would only do that by testing out the system, maybe running a scan, setting it up just like you had on the Windows 10 system, setting up Windows 11 just like that, and then running a scan on it to see if there's anything that's amiss, right? And you still might miss some things. Impact analysis is supposed to catch those things that are going to adversely impact your organization when you put it in place. So you can see this is super important. Configuration settings, least functionality. This is one of those things that if an organization doesn't get this right, everything else becomes harder. CM controls are super important. Configuration management, impact analysis, baseline configuration, change control. This is something that most organizations get wrong, and when they get it wrong, it affects all other security. All documentation is affected by this. All your hardware, software lists is affected by this. Your lists to what sites people are allowed to go through is affected by your CM controls. CM controls is way more important than people give it credit. If an organization doesn't get it right, it makes everything 10 times harder. I'm telling you, like, most organizations, whether it be they federal or private, public or private, they have problems with this particular control. Any organization that I went to that had this down, it's less problems. So I would say CM controls and SI controls.